At 3:36, thanks so much for hanging out with us this afternoon. So yesterday we spoke to NDG resident Catherine Fishton, who is very frustrated by very frequent power outages in her neighborhood. And she talked about her friend who relies on a CPAP machine to sleep because she has sleep apnea. So when the power's out, it's dangerous for her. Also, imagine trying to run a business in the area with the power going out all the time. They've been clocking these hours and they've counted over 80 hours of outages since March. Here's a little bit of our conversation with Catherine yesterday. And what about the local mayor? What about Gracia Kasoki Katawha?
I wrote to her 3 times, and I got very polite letters back saying that the mayor will look into this.
So the mayor, your borough mayor, has said that she will look into it, but beyond that, you find you're getting nowhere.
Correct.
So this is after letters to the mayor, the borough mayor, as well as Hydro-Quebec that she contacted multiple times, and she finds that she's just not getting the answers that she wants. So we promised her that we would follow up with the mayor of Côte-des-Neiges NDG, Gracia Kasoki Katawha, who joins us now on the line. Thank you so much for your time today, Mayor.
Hi, thank you.
So she had mentioned to us that she did get a response and that you would look into it, but then there hadn't been any response since then. Maybe we could start by talking a little bit about these power outages. What's been going on in Côte-des-Neiges NDG? Why have there been so many hours of outages recently?
Yeah, so I completely understand why citizens are frustrated about the situation. It happens really often that I see that in the borough, in certain sectors of the borough, the power goes out. So that's why I've been organizing meetings with Hydro-Quebec. I've been talking about it to my provincial counterparts here in the borough to try to understand, because while maintenance of Hydro-Quebec network is not the responsibility of the city, of the borough, for me it's really important to understand for our citizens what's going on. So that's why it's taking time for me to coming back to the citizens, because I want to be able to give them a concrete answer and a concrete possible solution to what's going on.
I'm getting the impression as you say that it's for you, even as a mayor of a borough, you get the same runaround from the rest of the city that anybody else would, which is, we'll get back to you, we're looking into it. And then it kind of puts you in a position to say the same thing back to a citizen. Is that what's been happening? Have you gotten anything?
No, so I've been organizing meetings with Hydro-Quebec and our provincial counterparts here in the borough. Mm-hmm. So what I understand about the problematic so far, it comes down to 2 major elements. So the what they call the AMSEB substation, that it's not really an AMSEB, it's really in Côte-Saint-Luc. It's really an old infrastructure that they need to change. But they're going to change that in the years to come. So this is like a medium term solution that's going to happen for the residents. In the meantime, those power outage continues to happen. The other thing also is the management of the trees. So the lines that goes in our trees sometimes are also a problem, but that is really less important as a problem than the fact that the substation, the AMSED substation, is really an old infrastructure that will be changed in the next couple of years, if not a decade.
Okay, Mayor, Catherine also spoke to us about local merchants and how they're suffering. She spoke specifically about Kiku Sushi on Monkland Avenue, and that owner in particular has bought a generator so that he doesn't keep having food spoil and he can try and hang on to his clientele. I'm wondering what you're hearing from merchants and if anything's being done to help them out.
So it's mostly citizens who've been contacting me, less the merchants. We have a commissaire au développement économique here in the borough, who is the person that is more in contact with them. But it's really from the citizens that I've been receiving those emails and those calls regarding Hydro-Quebec. And honestly, what I have to say, so I'm continuing to talk to them. I told them I told them like the importance of this, the emails that I've been receiving, and that we need to have a faster solution than that change of infrastructure that could happen in 10 years. But I think we need to keep the pressure on the people who are responsible, so Hydro-Quebec and the provincial government, basically. So I've been giving a number. That's the number that I'm going to give back to the citizens to make sure that every time that there's an outage, that we call that number, so they know that the numbers here are high. I mean, they already know because they have some numbers, but we need to keep calling them and putting pressure on them.
What is that number, Mayor? We'll just take note of it now.
Yeah, so it's 514-385 7252. So it's a number that people could call when there's like a multiple power outage, which is the case for a lot of citizens here in Côte-des-Neiges and NDG.
Okay, so 514-385-7252, and that's to report multiple outages. I know you said before when Aaron said that maybe it was frustrating for you kind of getting the runaround, you said you weren't frustrated, but I have to say it does sound like you are frustrated a little bit with Hydro-Québec, and rightly so, because you're simply not getting the answers that you really need.
I mean, I got answers, but for me, I tell them, what do I tell the citizens now? Like, okay, we're going to change the infrastructures in 10 years. And also there's an issue, the fact that that infrastructure is not able to keep up with the demands of electricity of our area. But I told them, listen, we're going to, more, electric cars. We're going to, changing our infrastructures in the city to, use like for sustainable development. So how come right now Hydro-Québec infrastructure is not able to keep up with the demand? For me, it's just going to go growing the demand, So it's hard because it's not a solution that I could give to them right now. So we need to keep putting pressure so they could find a solution now, before we change that infrastructure, because it's really problematic.
Yeah, and infrastructure, that's something even Hydro says is in the works. But again, as you just said, it's not a matter of days or months or weeks. It's going to be years. So you better get ready. That's part of the issue.
We're speaking with the mayor of Côte-des-Neiges, NDG, Gracia, Kasoki, Katawha, about the not constant, but very frequent power outages in that borough. Catherine also raised the point about her friends that they rely on CPAP machines and how it's actually dangerous for them. And then I think beyond that, we have to think about people who have any kind of mobility issues, right? Who might need a lift to get into their front door or need an elevator to be able to get into their apartment. What do you say to residents who are being so affected by this, who may have mobility issues, or that where it really is a safety issue when the power goes out, Mayor?
Yeah, I really, and as a nurse, I understand this is a big problem, especially when I read the email about the CPAP. It's something that, as a healthcare professional, what I say is that the healthcare professional taking care of them, they need to know. They need to know that they live in an area where the power could go out, so what they should do when that happens with the CPAP. And if the citizens, we keep calling Quebec, if as a mayor I keep doing it, I spoke about it to Desiree McGrath as well, who's in the sector, and Elizabeth Pratt, that it affects their citizens. If the hospital starts calling Hydro-Québec to say, well, you need to do something about this, hopefully we're gonna be able to get an interim solution, before we change that Amstead infrastructure.
So we appreciate you, first of all, making yourself available today to address this. We promised our listener we would, so thank you for that. And I would ask you, just as we wrap up, Mayor, you didn't have a background of politics. You just mentioned, we know, of course, you were a nurse before you won this election in that borough. What's it been like to be mayor of a local city borough?
Well, the biggest borough.
It's really an honor for me. It's really a continuity of what I was doing, working in hospital, and I was able to discuss that with some of my colleagues in the healthcare sector. So for me, working in hospital, I take care of people who are already sick, and we could take care of them, I don't know, for 6 months, and then, they're able to leave the hospital, and then they come back 3 weeks after because, I don't know, they slip on the sidewalk, for example, and then they have a hip fracture. So for me, I always thought that working outside of the hospital was a more effective way to make sure that we keep people we keep people healthy, basically. So, being here and working on parks, working on making sure that we have organization that take care of our youth, so they stay they stay with us, and they don't get tempted with maybe bad decision. For me, it's really a great way to continue to take care of this population that I took care for the past 10 years. I started being a nurse here at the Jewish General, so I've been taking care of this population for a while in hospital, and I'm so happy and honored to continue to do that as a mayor.
Well, listen, we thank you, as I said again, and I'm sure for citizens out there, they're at least happy to know that there's access to that mayor when there needs to be. So.
And I'll say, in terms of access, Mayor, you're my mayor. I live in NDG, and you are out and about. I met you at the Montreal Community Cares Walk.
Yes.
Yes, and by all accounts, everyone says, "Oh, she's everywhere." So good on you and getting out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try. It's a big borough, the biggest actually. So, and there's a lot of things going on, but we're really happy about that. Especially during the summer, like so many things are happening in the borough. We're really happy about that. So I try to be there. Me, my colleagues, I know, all the councils are really all everywhere in the borough, and we're really happy to do that.
Mayor,
Good
thank
on
you
you.
so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.